Guys, it's a Lifted Poet, and today I have a guide on making a Berserker Peer, which is one of the best builds out there as far as PvP wise. Because once you're a Berserker Peer, you're able to have Vengeance, high strength bonuses, and of course wear Rune and Barrel's gloves. It is one of the best builds out there, just because once you're a Berserker Peer fully quested, you become a total badass. You're able to defeat basically anyone who you fight. For a few exceptions, as far as if you want to go 75 attack, you're going to be fighting a lot of voiders / tanks, which kind of becomes a problem. But if you're a 60 attack build, you're going to be around 93 combat, fully maxed, and you're basically going to shred a bunch of peers who are max AGS peers. But compared to you, with having smite, it's just fuck, man. But anyways, yeah, I want to get into detail. This is actually my second time making a Berserker Peer. It's quite a while since I just really hate questing, but you're going to have to do a lot of questing. Now you're asking yourself, what is a Berserker Peer and what kind of stats do you need and what kind of armor you will definitely need. If you're becoming a 45 defense type build, you're obviously going to be wanting a Berserker helm, or if you're going to be a 42 defense build, you're just going to wear the Slayer helm. Regular, not the regular one, but you have to enchant it, which is about 1.2 million points, I believe, in Nightmare Zone. But you're basically going to be spending a lot of time in Nightmare Zone if you just want to get it out the way, like your stats, or you can otherwise do Slayer and have a high Slayer. But yeah, now this is pretty common for a 60 attack build. It's pretty simple, it's pretty straight out. You're gonna have your Berserker helm. You can switch this Fury out for a Glory or an Amulet of Strength or Power. Fire Cape, you can switch it out for an Avis Accumulator or just a Skill Cape regular, or probably I don't know, a Team Cape or whatever. But it's really recommended to have a Fire Cape for that +1 strength bonus that you get. Well, it's +4, but you get +1 max hit. You're obviously gonna have to want and have the Fighter Torso, since it gives a +4 strength bonus, which obviously I believe it gives you a +1 or +2 max hit. Rock Shell legs, Rune legs, whatever legs you want to have on, it doesn't really make a difference. It's just that, I don't know, for me, Rock Shell seems pretty cool, and you're obviously going to have it once you finish Fremnik Trials for the Berserk helm, so might as well do it. Rune boots, pretty standard for the defense. Barrel's gloves, you're going to obviously want to have Barrel's gloves. This is going to be like your best friend, and it's going to be your worst enemy starting off, just because you have to do a lot of quests just to have these gloves. Alright, now the Barrel's gloves is actually the best gloves you can actually possibly wear as a Berserker Peer or 42 defense build. Yeah, it has 12 plus attack bonuses, except for magic, and 12 plus defense bonuses except for magic as well. It has a +12 strength bonus, which you're able to hit 12s with just by itself, or it gives, I think, +2 max hit, and that's about it. But it's one of the best looking gloves and the best gloves that you can possibly wear. And yeah, now you're able to stay 60 attack if you want to. It's not, well, it's obviously recommended if you don't really want to be risking an AGS or something like that, but definitely 60 attack is where it's at, because once you're 60 attack, you become unbeatable unless you're going against other Zerkers. But yeah, if you want to upgrade from 60 attack, you find it kind of boring just using a Dragon Scimitar and a DDS, or possibly a Dragon Warhammer, which is the best 60 attack weapon you can possibly wield, but it's around 70-80 mil right now, current prices. Once you're 70 attack, you're able to use whips. I'm using a Tentacle Whip since it's 75 attack, since I don't have a regular whip. I don't train my attack much, so I don't even know why I have this, but yeah. Once you're 70 attack, you're able to use a whip. You can train your attack with that. Typically, people would do that if they want 75 attack, they'll use a whip to train in PKing, like PvP wise, up to 75 attack. And then once you're 75 attack, you're able to use an Armored of God Sword. It is definitely the best weapon you could use as a 75 attack build, because it just fucking wrecks. As you can see, for me, my max hit is a 46 slashing. I believe my max hit regularly is around 60, maybe. I'm probably pushing it a little too far, but yeah, it's definitely one of the best KO weapons. And if you're able to one tick it, I don't know if they changed the one tick method already, because I know Jagex did something about PID, but you're still able to do some damage MSB to AGS, or just D-skim to AGS, or whip to AGS, whatever you prefer. Now, as far as questing goes, you're going to have to get 175 quest points. I know it can seem very intimidating at first, and it really is, but you're just going to have to really stick it out, because you're going to have to if you're going to make this type of build. And if you think you're not ready for this type of account build, then I really wouldn't recommend it to you, and I would stay whatever account build you are. If you're one defense pure, stay one defense pure, enjoy it, have fun with it. And yeah, if I was a 20 defense initiate pure build, and a 13 defense build, and a 34 defense build. 34 defense was for the Rune gloves only, but it really isn't recommended, so you're just gonna get slapped on. No offense to anybody who has those account builds, since I was that. But yeah. Now here are the stats to become a fully quested Berserker pure. These stats are actually combined with Lunar Diplomacy, because once you finish Lunar Diplomacy, you can actually have Vengeance with 94 magic, and it's actually one of the best things ever, and it just makes your account even more powerful than it already is to begin with. Yeah, it's actually a lot of skills you have to get up, and it's going to take quite a bit. I believe mining, thieving, and definitely I think just mining is probably one of the hardest ones. Not hardest, it just gets really annoying, since you actually have to get it to 60, and it actually takes quite a bit of hours, quite a few, well, not a few, but just a lot of hours. And yeah, I'll just leave it on the screen for now, just for you guys to see what skills you need. It's better to write this down on a notepad or something, or if you're using OS Buddy, there is a notepad inside the one of the tabs, and you can just write down all the skills you need and just like take them off once you finish them. Now for the defense quest, you have several options, well, probably just like 2 options, I believe. You can either do, okay, once you finish all these quests, it'll unlock you up to 42 defense, and 42 defense just unlocks Barrels Gloves and Vengeance if you fully quested it, and you'll be a 42 defense build. You can easily go to 45 by just questing. You're actually going to be questing a lot, so if I were you, I'd probably quest defense even more from 42, so you can get it up to 45. But the easier way to do it is just to do one quest from 42 to 45, which would be Holy Grail. It's debatable if you want to do it or not, but that's exactly what I did. I did Holy Grail from 42 to 45, and it gave me a good chunk of prayer XP. I believe it gets like 15k prayer XP. Correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, that's exactly what I did for defense. And you can do it any other way you want. You can do all the other quests that gives defense XP, or you can just get it from 45 just from doing Holy Grail. Alright, so here's the quest list for recipe for disaster. Take note that this won't get you Barrels Gloves. It'll only get you up to Dragon Gloves. Dragon Gloves aren't really, I mean, they're 10 plus strength and everything, but they're 100k, and compared to Barrels Gloves, it's 100k as well, so might as well just stick to Rune Gloves for a good while and just not buy Dragon Gloves, but it's definitely up to preferences. But yeah, this is actually the quest list that you're going to actually have to complete to unlock at least up to Dragon Gloves. Now, as far as money making goes, you have different options to go through. You can either do it by skilling or PKing and bossing, pretty much. To be honest, for me, the quickest way now for the type of stats that I have now, usually risk fighting is a good way to go, even though it's called risk fighting and you're actually risking your items. But at the same time, you have the possibility of making double your, or triple or quadruple than what you started with, and it's actually really cool, and it tests your stats and your PKing abilities, whichever way you want to go through it, to be honest. But yeah, that's one good way to make money, is to do high risking. Another way to make money is by obviously skilling, which is really good, and it's guaranteed. It's not risky at all, depending on what you do. Actually, you can actually runecraft for the money. You can do hunter. You can do all sorts of stuff. Like, I think farming is actually really good money, to be honest. I recently started doing farming, and I really easily just made my first 1 mil farming, which was actually really easy. It's fun to do. You just run around and pick up your patches and add more farms, and more farms, add more seeds to the patches, and just wait for them and do other stuff. Yeah, there's actually a lot of ways to make money. It's just that people tend to be very lazy and don't do that stuff. But yeah, once you're really high level or just good enough to PK with and be kind of confident, you can get into the high risking scene, which is alright. It's not bad money. It's really not. It's actually really good. But at the same time, you have to take into consideration that you could actually lose basically everything you have, your entire bank, if you take it too far. There's staking involved. I wouldn't really recommend staking because staking can be a little bit sketchy, and there's actually account built specifically for staking, and you're actually going to be put at a disadvantage. So it's completely up to you. You can actually use, if you have a main account, you can do Zora, which is actually what I did. I still do occasionally, but it's what I did. I did Zora, and yeah, Zora was really good money until the teleportations methods became a little bit pricey. It's still possible to make money, but to be honest, it's not really, it's worth it, but just not as much as it was back then when teleports were like pretty dirt cheap. I still have to do regicide on my account, but still, it's really good money. Whatever option you decide to go with it. Make your first 10 mil. After your first 10 mil, make another 10 mil, 20 mil, and then before you know it, you're gonna have enough to buy an AGS. If you're gonna be a 75 attack build, if you're gonna be a 60 attack build, pretty much you don't really need anything expensive. If you just want to buy a Dragon Warhammer, then yeah, you're gonna have to make a lot of money. But other than that, it's gonna be pretty fun, making the money, making the stats, and hopefully you guys really enjoy that. I certainly did enjoy that. It's really fun to do, and just trying new things out, and if you guys like it, then well, yeah, stick with it. Alright, now my final opinions about a Berserker build or a 42 defense build. They're actually both really good builds. They're definitely one of the best builds for low level combat, not low level, but low combat / mid combat. Once you pass 100 combat, it's kind of a different story. You actually have, well, not have to, but just it's kind of recommended to get defense up, but it's definitely up to you, whatever account build you want to make. But yeah, Berserker Pures are definitely the best. I believe it's the best. I actually really enjoy it a lot now. Even though you're kind of limited to what you can do, it's still really cool. It's a nice build. It looks very good. And your stats are like really good as well. And yeah, once you unlock everything, it becomes kind of a sense of accomplishment. But it does take quite a while, at least a good month or a month and a half or two, depending on how much you play regularly. But it's actually a really fun build, and I really recommend everybody to actually make this build or try it out maybe. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy this Berserker Pure Berserker Pure guide. Hopefully it helps out anybody. Leave comments on the comment section, and I'll try to respond to everybody if they have a certain unique situation that I can help out with. As far as questing goes, I will be providing my quest list the way I did it, so you can follow the way I did it, or you can follow a different set of lists, but I will be leaving it on the screen right now, as you can see, and hopefully it's really easy to understand. And yeah, peace.